Hello, I'm State Representative Janine Nodder, and you're watching Chattin' with Janine. It's 2021 now. I hope you all had a blessed Christmas, and you'll welcome the first guest of the year, a returning guest, General John Bolduc.
Janine, it's great to be here, and I just want to take the opportunity to congratulate you, one, on being reelected, and two, on your leadership position in the House.
Well, thank you. I'm the majority whip this year, so I'm basically doing the same job I did last term, but with the correct title, because the last term they didn't want to use the word whip, so we're called floor leaders. But now I'm not the floor leader, so I'm not going to be doing any signaling to anybody on voting. Leadership will take care of that, but I have my own office and right across the hall from my old one. So
I've been there.
Right, so just across the hall there's a smaller office, and that one will be mine. And I assure you it will be full of jelly beans.
All right,
for those who stop by to visit.
All right, well, I look forward to stopping by.
So you haven't been here since last year, so what have you been up to?
Well, been very busy supporting veterans, teaching at New England College. Sharon and I, we sit on a number of veteran boards, and the one that's been keeping us the busiest here in New Hampshire is Swim with the Mission. The governor was gracious enough to provide Swim with the Mission a grant of $4 million, and we've been, Swim with the Mission contacted a bunch of veteran organizations and said, hey, listen, we realize you can't do fundraising, we realize you can't, get out there and do your normal activities because of COVID. And there's still veterans out there that require help, their families require help, so we have an opportunity to provide grants through the money that the governor gave, $4 million. And so they've applied, and we've been going around and presenting checks. I'm an ambassador for the Swim with the Mission program, and I'm honored to be one. I've been involved over the last 3 years. Sharon and I have been involved with them. They've been in existence for 4 years. And so that's Phil Taub and his wife, Julie, who run that organization. And it's really...
I have two questions on that. Well, first, are you also on the Veterans Advisory Board with Representative Al Baldessaro?
I am not.
Okay.
I am not on that board.
And the second question was Swim with the Mission. This is the first time I'm hearing about it. You're actually swimming. I mean, you look like you've been in the Bahamas swimming.
Yeah,
You've got a nice tan going on.
Yes. Swim with the Mission, it's called that because of their initial very close relationship with the Navy SEALs community. And they started out in Newfound Lake this swim with Navy SEALs. And the SEALs come and people do a swim. They also do a paintball tournament, and then there's a variety of other activities. They bring as many veteran organizations in the state of New Hampshire and in New England that want to show up and set up a table, and they have a big day. We were up at Ladd Farm, not this past year because COVID kind of got in the way of everything, but the year before, Ladd Farm out in Bristol, they got a huge farm up on a hill, and we did a huge canine and equine demonstration. The SEALs set up a little combat drill with their dogs, and I had Victor and I was up on a horse, and we, did horse things and dog things, and a lot of people showed up, and great fundraiser opportunity, and that's what Swim with the Mission does. It basically raises a lot of money, and then goes out and gives that money to other organizations. We have a lot of organizations out there that do a lot of great things, that fill a lot of gaps that the Veterans Administration can't fill, but they need money.
There's a lady in town I want you to meet. She's the owner of Broadway Bound, Jennifer DeFelice. I just had a conversation with her like a week or two ago about different veteran organizations in the state, because she's very involved with the veterans, and she's just amazing, all the
I
things
would love
that
to
she
meet
would
her.
do. Yeah, so I didn't have the name of this Swim with a Mission. I gave her the name of some other organizations like the Children of Fallen Patriots by Jay Lucas. I'm sure you know Jay.
I know Jay, and I'm familiar with that organization, yeah.
And I'm sure you know the name Dan Healy.
Yep.
being from New Hampshire. So
Yep.
his mom, is his
mom.
mom involved with this?
Swim with the Mission? Well, I know she's been honored by them, right, and recognized, of course. And just by virtue of the fact that, you know, she's a Gold Star mom and family that, you know, and a Navy, her son was a Navy SEAL.
Yes, yeah, Marcus Luttrell.
Yeah.
He was part of that mission.
Yes, he was. And so, yeah, that's all part of it. And unfortunately, this past year, they didn't have they normally have a banquet and they, you know, everybody comes in and, but they couldn't do that this year. So instead, it's about going around small little groups and visiting the organizations and giving them money that's been raised and donated.
And then what do they do with the money? You mentioned they give it to other organizations that help veterans?
Yeah, so I was just out at, before coming over here, out at Delta Dogs in Hollis, and they got a $300,000 check. And what they do is they provide canines to veterans.
Like Victor.
That have post-traumatic stress,
studio
TBI.
audience member
Right.
today.
That's right. Victor's over there, taking it all in. That's what they do. And, you know, the overhead, the infrastructure, the paying of the trainers, the food, everything like that, it all costs money, right? And they haven't been able to do the fundraising events that they normally do, so this all helps. And it's
Well, thank you for doing that.
well, it's my honor to be involved. And you know, we have veterans and families that are suffering, and more so now because of COVID. Veterans aren't the only ones. You know, we have first responders, we have younger generation, we have our elderly, and all this social. You know, the restrictions on being able to get out has taken a toll, and we've seen suicide rates and all those demographics go up. And the study just said that we had doubled the amount of suicides among our veterans from 22 to 44 a day. It's pretty
Just since
significant.
COVID?
Yes.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. So, you know, now we need to move forward, and we need to start doing things a little bit differently so that we can get back to normal, and you know, as best we can, and try and buy down those numbers.
You know, when the COVID crisis first hit, it was like they were just stories, and it's like I didn't know anyone that actually had the virus. And then when I did know somebody who had the virus, or two people, Lynn Blankenbecker was one, where her nose was runny and she couldn't taste or smell. That was it. I had a friend in California that had it, and she said we're all being lied to. She's had worse flus. And then, you know, the summer, being outside, the sunlight can kills viruses. It seemed like life was almost normal. But now, more and more people that I personally know are getting sick, and very sick. I had a friend that had it, and I'd FaceTime every day, and she was laying down. You know, that's just not like her, laying down, FaceTiming me, and she's just so tired. And that was the worst part for her, was just being tired.
Yeah.
And a neighbor of mine said the worst thing for her was just the lingering effects of it. It just lasted such a long time, and nobody's got time for anything like. No one has time for a cold, a common cold, let alone a COVID cold or the flu or. I don't even know if the real flu exists anymore, does it?
Well, they say, you know, I mean, the flu, pneumonia, the common cold, it's all kind of been taken over by COVID, right? I mean, it seems like everything is getting categorized under COVID. And I mean, I don't want anyone to be sick, and certainly those that have, you know, health complications, anything of cold, flu, pneumonia. I know my grandmother died of, you know, she was 90 years old, but she went to the hospital and she caught pneumonia in the hospital, and that's how she died, right?
Yeah, that's sad. And it's
so,
really hard with the masks too, because they hold germs, and I have a very, very hard time. I have to force myself to wear and just keep, you know, giving myself mental notes like, no, you can breathe, you can breathe, you can breathe. And like, my throat hurts, but I have to, because that's the way it is right now.
It's the way it is right now. It
And I
certainly
change them
is.
out. I just change them out so that they don't have a petri dish on my face.
Well, you have to change them out, right? And there's no guidance on it, right? There's no real guidance on how to dispose of it, and
I hear that the oceans are full of them now. I'm
Yes.
like, oh, great.
yeah,
Take
the
away our
pollution is
straws and fill it up.
pollution's unbelievable with the masks in our oceans and our lakes.
Even in parking lots. Any
parking
given
lots.
parking lot.
Yep.
And I see people dropping. I'm like, and then they pick them up off the ground and they're going to put them on their face. That's their only mask. I'm like, there's just nothing good. You got to.
Well, you know, when I was in charge of the Ebola crisis, for United States AFRICOM,
Ebola?
yes.
Oh.
Yeah,
Talking about that's another nasty thing.
I tell you what, we had very strict guidelines on disposal of the PPE, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was all incinerated. You wore it once and it was incinerated, and COVID being as deadly and as spreadable as it is, you'd think there would be a tremendous amount of guidance on disposing of
But
masks.
it's also very difficult to say who's going to get it. You have two people in the same room.
Right.
One will get COVID and the other one won't.
That's
I've
exactly
seen that.
right,
I've seen
yeah.
that happen.
Yeah, my son did an internship this summer. He's a senior now at Purdue, and he lived with 12 other kids, and they were going around driving in the same vehicle, living in the same hotel, doing the same job, doing all this stuff together. And one kid got COVID. 2 kids were tested positive, but were asymptomatic, and then everyone else tested negative. They never got it,
Isn't that
right?
strange?
And they've
Yeah.
been living together. Isn't that kind of strange,
It's
right?
strange, but,
So
like,
you never
I
know
was-
how it's going to act.
I remember being a kid, like grade school. Somebody across the room sneezed, I would get their cold. So, just
Yeah.
doing what I do, washing my hands. I'm still living my life. I'm not going to live in fear and stay home.
No, you
and-
can't live in fear. You gotta, you have to just, I guess, use common sense, right? Wash your hands, clean up after yourself. One of the good things about the American culture is we're not close talkers, right?
Some people are.
Some
I
people
see
are.
people are.
Yeah.
They move in and I
Yeah,
back up.
yeah.
I'm like, no, everybody's staying away. It's
Even
like,
under normal circumstances, right? Please.
yes, under normal
please.
circumstances. My husband said that he saw somebody talking to me one time and he just laughed because he just saw the guy kept moving in and I kept moving back and it was all the way across the room.
That's what I love, the Seinfeld episode with the close talker. Oh, he's the close talker.
A close
and,
talker.
Yeah.
No soup for you.
There is a Seinfeld episode for every situation in life. I'm convinced of it. Right? I'm convinced. Last night I was watching one of my favorite movies, Cool Hand Luke.
I've heard of it.
Right. Paul Newman. It's a classic. And one of the lines that has transcended time since the movie came out was, "What we have here is a failure to communicate." And it just struck me. That's one of the biggest problems we have today, right? A failure to communicate, right? Understand and then be able to communicate once you understand something, and getting people to come together and communicate together. And the whole thing is, the captain, right, of the prison, that was his thing. What we have here is a failure to communicate. And Cool Hand Luke, was getting punished, and he would continue to get punished until his mind was right. Now, is everybody's mind right? And that was the whole idea about getting your mind right and about being able to communicate. And it just struck me as kind of funny. I've been driving my wife crazy all day with examples of what we have here is a failure to communicate.
And Sharon is part of our studio audience today with Victor the dog.
Yeah,
who's not Vincent.
and she goes, "Oh my goodness, not again!" Because now she can see it coming as soon as something is said on the radio or on television, or we're in a conversation and talking past each other. And that's what we really need to get back to, right? Is communicating effectively together and understanding and being more respectful. And I think that's all part of it. And
You know what? We've used up more than half the time for the show today, and I wanted to get to this. I printed this off before I got here, but I didn't get a chance to read it. So this is something you wrote?
It is. It's a Concord Monitor published an op-ed. I'm running for the United States Senate again. I'm going to take on Senator Maggie Hassan, and I feel I have, the momentum, the fundraising capability, the grassroots support, and the name recognition. Things that I started at zero in the last election. Now we have.
You just have to make sure there's not a failure to communicate.
Yeah, that's
Get
right.
your message out.
What we have here is a failure to communicate, and that's what that's all about. It's about, hey, listen, we have a problem in the United States, right? And the problem is career politicians, and the problem is people in Washington, D.C. who have factionalized themselves, who are driving divisiveness on both sides of the aisle. We can't just sit here and point fingers. It's both sides of the aisle, blaming, finger pointing. This divisiveness, lack of accountability, not being able to solve real problems. And that's what this is all about. It's about accepting that approach. It's about readopting the ideas that our founding fathers had about public service of elected officials is about understanding agreement, disagreement, respect, and compromise. And coming together and doing that for the collective good. And what we've put in place today, I'm afraid, is career politicians whose special interests and big money and have taken over the political process, and it now works for them. Mm. And they are so far away from the people.
I gotta
go ahead.
I'm breaking it here because I gotta tell you that I have a friend that used to have a show on this channel called Late Night with Lynette. Mm-hmm. And Maggie Hassan was governor at the time. Mm-hmm. And Lynette started her show each week with a Maggie moment. And this week, our Maggie moment. And then she would talk about something Hassan did that week. So in case you want to have a show or a clip, a video clip, you could do the same thing. And our Maggie moment of the week is...
And exactly.
Because I want to make sure that you don't have a
because they had a moment.
It's very important.
They had a moment, on Thursday, where all four of our congressional representatives, instead of coming out and with a message of let's come together and let's work together, unify, bring down this divisiveness and work together, they did the exact opposite. And their message was one of divisiveness. Their message was one of finger pointing and blaming, and not getting off of this idea of serving themselves. And they did it. They did it again. And they're pushing for impeachment, which, listen, Wednesday was not President Trump's finest moment, and I think we can all agree. But
I've had
this
the TV
past
off.
year,
I have no idea what's going on.
This past year has been not the finest moment for any of our elected officials on both sides of the aisle. They haven't come together on anything that has effectively helped with the economic crisis, brought down our fiscal debt crisis, the safety and security of Americans, and we have to come together. And what they did this weekend, over the weekend, in my opinion, was completely wrong and just an indication of how they're going to be over the next 2 years and over the next 4 years, and we got to get past this. We all have our opinions. However, if we're going to move forward, it's now time to come together and figure out how to make people's economic life better, how to buy down our debt, how to make America safe and secure. We are playing into the hands of our enemy. I have a lot of national and international experience, probably more so than any other candidate that could run. Certainly rivals Senator Hassan's experience. And we are playing into our enemies. We are creating weaknesses for America. We are showing them that we are internally weak. And if we're internally weak, that is going to be our downfall. And we cannot afford that. And that's what this whole thing is about, coming together. And, oh, by the way, if you elect the same politicians over and over and over again, how do you expect a different outcome for your families, your community, and your country? It's impossible. It is time for a change. It's time to buy into character and integrity and selfless service and not into power, money, the establishment, and special interest. And we have to send that message, and we have to send it hard. And we need term limits, and we need people down there that are going to unravel the terrible benefits that they have in Congress that separates them even more from us, right? And that gets them to side with wealthy elites and special interests because they're going to guarantee their next election, right? Mm-hmm. We're the ones that should be guaranteeing that next election, not special interests and not lobbyists and not wealthy elites. It should be the people, and we got to get back to those ideas of public service. You know, like yourself, you're serving because you love your community. You're serving because you love your state. You want to do the right thing, right? And you're willing to do the right thing. You want to keep taxes low. You want to keep regulations down. You want to make sure that the New Hampshire advantage continues and that we make the New Hampshire advantage better. We have people that can afford their homes but can't afford the taxes on their homes.
Yeah, the taxes are terrible.
We got to do something about this. We got to do something about our infrastructure. We got to do something about our broadband. We got to do something about our health care. We got to help our veterans. The opioid crisis is still out of control.
Agreed.
The mental health crisis is still, all these things that they promised to do something for us, they have not done. Those are real problems to solve. Throwing money at it's not going to work, right? As long as you have the idea that you're going to pass a bill that's going to give millions and billions of dollars to foreign countries to do transgender research and other stuff like that in a relief act that's designed and supposed to be designed to help Americans is completely wrong, right? That's backwards thinking, that's wrong thinking, that's people who don't really have an investment in those that they're supposed to serve. And we see that in these 4 representatives that we have down in Washington, D.C. They're there for themselves. They've
I didn't vote for any of them.
over and over and over again, right?
Yeah.
You know? And we gotta, you didn't vote for them, not because they're Democrats, but because they're not the right people for the job. At least that's why I didn't vote for them.
I didn't vote for them.
You know?
No.
I look at it and I go, you're not the right person for the job, right? And you have, put yourself in a position of entitlement, and you're not present in New Hampshire. You're not doing the job. You're not rolling up your sleeves. I've not seen you once. I've not seen you once. And I get out. I'm at all kinds of events, right? So where are you? And this idea that we're not going to talk to people that we disagree with. You have to talk to people that you disagree with, right? I mean, I sat across the table from Taliban fighters who wanted to kill me, right?
Wow.
Who wanted to blow me up, right? And, they didn't agree with me. But we sat down and we came up with a solution for the good of the village, for the good of the district, right? And that's what you need to do.
Did they keep their word?
They kept their word.
Amazing.
See, the thing about that society is if you bring people together and you talk a common language and it's about the collective good and you do it consistent with their culture and their beliefs, it works. It's when you do things outside of that that don't work. And the key thing is communication, right? We don't want that. What we have here is a failure to communicate, right?
Cool hand Luke.
Right, cool hand Luke. And so we have to do that. I think that's why I have so much hope for the the Republican majority here in this state, that they're going to rise above all that and that they're going to do the right thing collectively, and they're going to point their finger at people that don't want to do the right thing collectively.
We've
right?
got 2 minutes left. Yeah, we're focusing on policy
Right.
And but then we got all these shenanigans going on and other things popping up. Oh, there's always fires to put out.
Yeah, that's tough, right? But folks like you, who I've come to know, who I know have a good heart and will do the right thing for the people of New Hampshire, that's where I'm putting my, my faith in. You got Bob Healy there with you. He's
Oh,
a
that's
good
right,
man. I
yeah.
love him.
Oh, he loves you too. We campaigned together.
Yes, I
Yeah.
love him, and there's just a lot of great people, that are in there. Jose and Mike Moffat.
Oh, you
and-
know Jose? He's going
Yeah.
to be on my committee.
Yeah,
He's taking
Jose's a
everything.
great guy. I really love him, and his wife Allison. There's just a lot of great people.
Well, General, we have about 1 minute left. I'm sorry. I want to give you, because like you did last time, whenever
Mm-hmm.
you said you're a candidate, so the candidate always gets the last word.
Right.
And you can speak directly into that camera to the people of Merrimack. And
Sure.
thank you. It was fun catching up with you.
It was fun catching up with you, and it's always great to be on your show. You're fun to talk to.
Thank you.
So, Merrimack, God bless you all. I wish you all a great new year. I'm running for the United States Senate again, and really what I am all about is the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. I am dedicated to that, free market economy, fiscal responsibility, and the safety and security of Americans. I have a conservative, social agenda. I am pro-life. I believe in the sanctity of life from the beginning to the end, and I am pro-gun ownership. I am pro-Second Amendment, and I want to do the best with your tax dollars, and I want to serve you, collectively you, and I will always do the right thing for you. I have strong public service background with 33 and a half years in the military. I'm a former police officer in Laconia, New Hampshire. I know what it is to serve and put yourself out there on the line, and I want to continue to do that for you. And you have my promise that I will work for you. I believe in term limits, so I'm only going to do it for 2 terms, but I got to get there. And we need change. And whether you're a Republican, Independent, Democrat, or Libertarian, I believe I'm your guy, because I want to solve problems for you in the collective good. So God bless you all, and thank you very much.